here's a look at some of the dishes that gross the judges out on Hell's Kitchen. Now, we've seen all sorts of mistakes on Hell's Kitchen, big and small.
Smell that. Hey, you, don't you fucking dare. Come here, you. Hello.
Oh, God. I swear to God, when you walk through those doors, get a grip.
That was in the scallop salad.
What the fuck? Come on, fellas.
But none as dumb as these.
You better understand one fucking thing. You do not decide what goes out of this kitchen.
Yeah, this contestant didn't give a shit about the rules.
What I said was I'd be happy to bring him to you.
Wait, did I say rules? What rules?
Want to know the truth?
Yeah, I do want to know the truth.
I have no faith that he's going to be able to get the sides out.
Despite all the chaos that he stirred up, this dude somehow managed to stick around a lot longer than he deserved in the competition without getting the boot. I'm talking about Season 8, Episode 2, when Vinny Accardi was supposed to assist the head honcho of the blue team that night. But Vinny wasn't up for it. After hanging out with Raj for a bit, he decided to throw the rulebook out of the window and cheated like there was no tomorrow. As for his memory, well, not exactly a steel trap. It took him a whopping 30 minutes just to send his first ticket to Chef Ramsay.
James, I don't know what Vinny's doing, but I need some tickets in here, yes?
Yo, is that table 20?
No, table 20's right there.
Of course, the famous chef wasn't too pleased. He accused Vinny of sabotaging the blue team's chances, but Vinny? Oh, he played the innocent card like a pro.
Vinny, are you trying to sabotage your own team?
No, not at all.
No, understand what you're doing. Own up to it.
And guess what? An hour and a half into the service, Vinny was still dragging his feet, slowing down the entire kitchen. But what happened next was mind-blowing. Vinny decided to ditch etiquette altogether when he was assigned to be a waiter. Instead of just taking orders and relaying it back to the kitchen, Vinny decided to play head chef, dictating what the customer should eat.
If you guys order sides, you're going to be here till next Tuesday.
But it seems like he might have had a bunch of manipulation techniques up his sleeve because he actually managed to convince one of his tables to skip ordering sides. Wondering why? Well, it was because of his distrust in Raj. Talk about a team player, right? But surprise, surprise, James caught wind of it and ratted him out to Chef Ramsay. And let me tell you, the famous chef wasn't having any of it.
Shut up!
Vinny was hauled to the kitchen, where he tried to talk his way out of blaming Raj for his missteps. Turns out, he had little to no faith in Raj to whip up some sides in time. And because he was so concerned about the customers, he simply asked them to skip the sides altogether. Now the famous chef wasn't buying that BS. He figured that Raj must have been the mastermind behind this entire mess and decided to confront him himself. And Raj was shocked. He never saw it coming. The poor dude was just hanging around his station trying to work on his sides as fast as he could. And suddenly, out of nowhere, Chef Ramsay walks up accusing him for doing something that Vinny did? The dude didn't even have a clue what was going on, and his reaction honestly was gold.
Of course not. Why would I say that?
Don't fucking shout at me. You told him that. Don't push the side so I look good.
I'm ready with the side.
Poor Raj ended up getting the short end of the stick for absolutely no reason. It was one of the rare times when Raj was left scratching his head, wondering what went wrong when he had everything under control.
Why? Look at these sides. He's all ready. He's okay.
You see, this time around, Raj wasn't the bad guy. And when the famous chef finally saw the truth, his gaze slowly shifted to Vinny, and well, there was no point in hiding it anymore. Vinny admitted that he just wanted to mess with Raj. Talk about being too clever for your own good, huh? And let me tell you, he totally got what was coming to him.
The truth is, I have no faith that he's going to be able to get the sides out.
For real, the dude totally deserved every bit of what he got. But wait, there's more. Vinny really wasn't willing to back down and take all the blame. He tried to pin it on Raj once again, this time for forgetting the parsley. Seriously, Vinny? I mean, stop playing the victim in your own mess. Despite all of his mistakes, Vinny somehow managed to dodge elimination. And I'm pretty sure Chef Ramsay felt the same way because, out of the blue, he called Vinny out.
I am pissed. You have no right to recommend to the guests not to have a side with an entree.
I honestly thought he'd be packing his bags and leaving the show that night, but, well, Chef Ramsay had other plans in mind. However, hey, at least he didn't goof up as bad as this next contestant.
Fuck my life.
Oh boy, Shaday's blunder is gonna be talked about for ages on Hell's Kitchen. I mean, I'm talking about next level stupidity here. And I know, I've brought this up so many times on my channel, but bro, didn't you read the title of the video? It would be a crime not to bring up Shaday's mess in the dog show planning challenge. Call it miscommunication or a mix-up, but Shade literally took misunderstanding to a whole new level with her exquisite dish.
I thought we were cooking for dogs.
I mean, it was a dog show, so why not, right? But let me tell you, watching her go all out crafting a braised beef dish for her furry customers was something else. However, who did she think was gonna judge the dish? Chef Ramsay? Anyway, Steve and Bryant were just flabbergasted.
I don't know about fried anything for dogs.
So it's not making too much fucking sense right now.
It's insane how she didn't realize she was way off track until she saw what everyone else was serving up. And when the famous chef caught a glimpse of her braised beef dish disaster, he simply let her have it.
What's this plate here? What is that?
Braised beef.
Am I the only one here? Or does that sound fucking ridiculous?
Yeah, no kidding, it's ridiculous. Meanwhile, the blue team got served a slice of defeat and ended up being punished with setting up the dining room for the next service and taking care of the dogs from the American Kennel Club.
I am so tempted to grab the hose and spray all of these bitches. And I'm not talking about the dogs.
Talk about a double whammy. I wonder if they put her dish to good use there. But here's the thing, there was a full-blown discussion about this on Reddit after the episode aired. And one user pointed out that Shade probably did it on purpose because there was an extra member on the team, which meant that one dish would quietly be dropped away. If you ask me, I guess that would be a huge risk to take. And while Shade did make a dumb mistake, I'm sure she isn't so dumb to literally sabotage her position on the show. But what's your take on this? Make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments section down below. Meanwhile, let's move on from delicious dog food to some inviting canned food.
It's called Moe's pasta.
In the very first challenge of season 14, while everyone else was putting their heart and soul into their signature dishes, this contestant decided to take the easy route and crack open a can of sauce. Bravo! What a genius move. Or so we thought. Unfortunately, it turned out to be a major flop. During the signature dish challenge, when it was Monique's turn to impress Chef Ramsay, she served up Moe's pasta. As if that wasn't bad enough, when Chef Ramsay asked about the marinara sauce, she confessed to using a store-bought jar. And let me tell you, the famous chef's reaction was pure gold.
I want to know how you made it.
It's just from a jar.
Ouch, talk about being called out for something you didn't even cook. But Monique wasn't in the mood to back down. She actually had the audacity to defend herself, claiming that there was nothing wrong with it because, you know, who has time to make sauce from scratch unless you're Italian, right? Yeah, she actually tried to argue with Chef Ramsay during the very first challenge. Talk about nerves.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with canned sauce. Unless you're from fucking Italy and you're like born as an Italian.
But wait, things were about to get even crazier. The famous chef, against all odds, gave her dish a whopping 1 point. I mean, seriously?
Moe's pasta, 1 out of 5.
Okay, got it.
With her terrible attitude, I was sure she'd get the boot before she even set foot in the kitchen. Chef Ramsay, however, wanted to give her another chance. But did she deserve it? Absolutely not. Monique's performance in the kitchen that evening was nothing short of a train wreck. She was supposed to handle the meat station with Christine Hazel, but guess what? She couldn't even figure out how to turn on the oven. And it only gets worse, somehow. She went on to serve up raw lamb and pork so dry that it could rival the Sahara Desert. What's more, the Queen of Shortcuts managed to secure some nominations for elimination not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now that is what I call a feat. And get this, when Chef Ramsay asked her why she thought she deserved to be on the show, her response, well, you can hear it for yourself.
I think I deserve to stay here because I'm better than these two.
Eventually, the red team just had enough of her antics. But hey, on the bright side, at least Monique can now rely on canned sauce without having to worry about sidelining Chef Ramsay's rules, right? But that wasn't the only signature dish with prepackaged ingredients. Remember Mike from season 12? Oh, believe me, this guy was a real character. His confidence was through the roof. But did it pay off? Well, let's just say his dishes spoke for themselves.
Tortellini, what's inside the filling?
It's just a cheese. It's a packaged tortellini.
Wait, did he just say packaged? Oh no, that's a sin in Chef Ramsay's book. And the kicker? Mike actually thought he could get away with it. But wait, he wasn't done yet.
That's how it's sold, Chef.
Please tell me you use fresh tomatoes.
They were canned tomatoes.
Could you believe that? He wasn't even trying to hide his stupidity anymore. I mean, if everything on his plate was either packaged or canned, then what exactly did he cook? The famous chef had had enough, and let's just say his reaction wasn't exactly a shocker. I mean, for real, we all saw that one coming, right? It looks like Mike took away not just the creativity, but also the authenticity of a signature dish away from it. But this next contestant comes really close in competition to Mike's level of idiocy.
Stop it! Look at me now, okay? Get off the section!
So, during Season 3, Episode 1 of Hell's Kitchen, Vinny was at the appetizer station doing his thing. And suddenly, things took a nosedive when Vinny was hit with a veggie crisis for his risotto. And as it turns out, Rock was the bearer of bad news.
I need some vegetable stock. There is no more.
But instead of freaking out, Vinny decided to improvise on his mess and poured some water into the risotto. Well, it was a genius move according to him, because veggies are basically just water, right? Hey, they were Vinny's words, not mine.
Stock is made of water, and vegetables are made of water.
But of course, not everyone was on board with his quick fix solution.
Just come here, you. You're putting water in the risotto.
And when it was time to taste Vinny's risotto experiment, Chef Ramsay had the most dramatic reaction to it.
No harm, no foul. That's all we have.
It tastes like gnat's piss.
Gnat's piss? I mean, I never come up with that comparison even in the wildest depths of my imagination, but, well, Chef Ramsay seems to know it all. And what followed next was Vinny's removal from the appetizer station that night.
Look at me now, okay? Get off the section.
But fear not, because Brad swooped right in to save the day. As the appetizers started to fly out of the blue kitchen, Chef Ramsay couldn't help but tease Vinny.
Doing my best, Chef.
Vinny's just peaked in life. Dishwasher.
Yeah, the famous chef sure knows how to put people in their place. Now, fast forward to the post-mortem, and Chef Ramsay called out Vinny for the risotto disaster. But Vinny fired back with arrogance.
I didn't know what you wanted. You didn't want to show me. So what did you want me to do?
Oh yeah, he actually tried to pin the blame on Chef Ramsay? Well, Ramsay wasn't having any of it. He straight up called Vinny a two-faced, lazy little, well, you know what. And Vinny was left fuming.
Lazy.
Rock had to actually pat him on his back and stop him in his tracks. I mean, surely Vinny had momentarily forgotten who he was talking to. At this point, Vinny's ego had put the blue team's future in jeopardy, and Rock wasn't about to lose it over one guy.
Please shut up. Who are you talking to? Are you serious? I couldn't believe it.
And thanks to Rock's timely intervention, Chef Ramsay moved on from Vinny, and eventually the red team were named losers for the night. Talk about a close save, huh? Moving on, now let's dive into Season 14, where one contestant had a knack for taking shortcuts. But borrowing rice from his teammate and passing it off as his own dish? Now that is just plain ridiculous. So Adam kicked things off strong in the Signature Dish Challenge, even managing to impress Chef Ramsay with his first creation, scoring a solid 4 points. But then, things took a turn for the worse. On the third day, Chef Ramsay threw a curveball with the Alaskan Fish Challenge, where contestants had to match fish heads to their tails. Sounds disgusting, but easy, right? Wrong.
The fish have been split in half. The fish heads are in one pool, and the fish tails are in the other pool.
With the heads and tails in different icy ponds, telling a trout from a salmon or a cod from a halibut when they're sliced in half? Not exactly a walk in the park, huh? For this specific challenge, Millie Medley and Adam Laval ended up as partners, and right from the get-go, Adam was griping about the cold. Come on, Adam, quit complaining about the ice being so chilly. Could you even hear yourself? You sound silly.
Yeah, I should have peed before we got down there, because as soon as I touched that cold water, woo! Had to chew that back.
Anyway, despite the blue team snagging a 5-minute head start, Adam couldn't quite keep up even with the advantage. While his team was busting their chops to impress Chef Ramsay, Adam realized that he needed a hand from his partner.
I got that.
That's some cool teamwork, huh? But this little move ended up backfiring big time. Adam and Millie were the last pair to present their dish to the guest judge Michael Cimarusti. Despite the setback, Adam's pan-seared halibut with grilled baby bok choy and basmati rice managed to turn some heads and even impress Judge Cimarusti.
Fish is cooked nicely here and pretty well seasoned.
Now that's what I call bouncing back from a setback, huh? But just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, Millie stepped up to present his dish of halibut française butter with bell pepper rice, and lo and behold, both dishes had rice on them. The judge started to voice his suspicions, and Adam's face went as white as a sheet. Oopsie, looks like someone just got caught red-handed. I mean, you could practically feel the tension in the air.
Did you guys share on that one, or?
And of course, Chef Ramsay wasn't about to let it slip by. He jumped right in, asking Adam if he really did borrow Millie's rice. I mean, seriously, what a sly little scheme they had going on there. And to everyone's disbelief, this is what Adam had to say.
Yes, sir.
But the famous chef wasn't buying into his games, and Adam knew that he had no choice but to come clean.
This was your dish. Absolutely, sir. So, no shared ingredients. You got it, chef.
Okay, so you know what that means? The dish wasn't entirely his creation. Adam was caught with his hands in the cookie jar. There was no way out from here. I mean, what a missed opportunity. Adam's dish had the potential to clinch the win for his team, especially with that 5-minute head start. But no, he had to cheat and hand over the victory to the red team on a silver platter. Meanwhile, the blue team was given the consolation prize of participating in Seafood Delivery Day and prepping fish for the next service. And to add insult to injury, after a grueling day, what did they have for lunch?
Guys, it's peanut butter and jelly. I mean, peanut butter and jelly fish.
You guessed it, a less than appetizing offer. Yikes, talk about rubbing salt in the wound. Adam should have just cooked his own rice and spared his team and himself from this horrendous punishment. Lesson learned the hard way, I suppose. And now, it's time for the last entry on this list. This dumb chef right here failed to cross-check his dish before sending it out.
How I get this out of here without breaking it?
Very delicately.
So, in episode 7, Van from season 6 was holding down the fish station during the dinner service, feeling pretty confident as the resident fish expert. But uh-oh, one of his sea bass dishes got sent back much to his disappointment. Wondering why? Well, check this out.
I think that's like wax paper.
Yikes, plastic on the skin definitely wasn't the finishing touch he had in mind. So, what did he do next? Had it been for me, I'd try my best to bounce back with a flawless second attempt. But Van? He just sent up another round of plastic-plagued sea bass.
And now for the fucking second time, more fucking plastic wrap!
Unbelievable. This prompted the famous chef to step in with a stern lecture about the importance of paying attention to those little details. And if that wasn't enough, Van then took the chef's table order for the fish entree and fumbled through with an explanation nobody could understand. In other words, the fish station quickly turned into a cooking disaster zone.
It's braised baby romaine lettuce.
After the blue team's terrible dinner service, the famous chef had seen enough and decided to shut the kitchen down. Van, confronted with his lackluster performance, watched as Dave was crowned the best of the worst. When nomination time rolled around, Van and Robert found themselves on the chopping block, with Andy joining them in the lineup. However, the famous chef did not forget about the plastic incident. Feeling the heat, Van was asked if he was ready to throw in the towel, and you won't believe his response.
You got 20-something years in this business. You can spot talent.
Nope, not even close to calling it quits. Surprisingly, he managed to dodge elimination as Chef Ramsay sent him back in line. In the end, Van narrowly escaped getting the boot and lived to cook another day. Whew, that was a close one. So, if you've noticed, I've been covering a series of videos that revolve around the craziest mistakes on Hell's Kitchen for a while now. And if you think that I've missed out on any of them, let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below.
You cannot penetrate me. I'm the guy that has nothing to lose, and I really don't give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Oh boy, he was a mess from the start. The 10-second long attention span was evident, and Chef Ramsay's reaction to him doing, well, anything made that clear. When the latter fired off the first ticket, Chino needed a repeat, but this wasn't his prep school.
I'm sorry, Chef. Can you repeat that? Can I repeat that? I'm sorry, Chef. Let me repeat it. Yourself.
Moving on to the entrees, Chino's miso cod came out looking like it had been on the grill for a minute or 20 too long. Imagine my shock when Chef Ramsay got up in his face about it.
I burned the miso cod. You know, I should know too, because I'm Asian.
Anyway, this led to his timeout at the chef's table, where sous chef Scott kindly assigned him some garlic prep duty. Definitely something more his speed.
There you go, at least you won't be able to burn any of that.
Ugh, horrible.
But hey, nothing improved in the second service as well. He and Jonathan paired up at the appetizer station, but things went down the drain real fast there too. The first table ended, and while Brendan's orders were making their way to the pass, Chino's risotto was lagging eons behind schedule. And Chino and the rest of his team may as well have been on different planets, considering how poorly they were communicating.
How long out on the risotto?
Anyway, Chef Ramsay tore into Chino for being too fixated on the rice. When Chino finally sent out his first risotto, well, he made sure to burn it in effigy before the customers could even get their hands on it. And the entire pan went into the trash. So what about round 2? Same burnt story. Chef Ramsay's disappointment was written all over his face.
I've got another burnt risotto. It's fucking burnt!
The incomplete table had to go out or, well, everybody would have gone hungry.
Apologize, risotto's behind it, yes? Come on, Chino.
Despite the crash and burn, he somehow survived. Again. Sometime later, he stepped into the role of assistant maître d' for the family night dinner service. But his debut wasn't exactly turning any heads.
Chino! Chino! Chino!
When he handed Chef Ramsay the first ticket, well, let's just say Ramsay couldn't make a head or tail of Chino's handwriting. On top of the chicken scratch, Chino forgot a crucial detail, the sides. He was lucky the blue team won in spite of his efforts.
And no sides?
No, I didn't, Chef.
Oh, piss off, Chino.
After the blue team's loss in the chicken creation challenge, they decided to roll up their sleeves and simulate a dinner service for some extra practice. His team was left disheartened as Chino stumbled through the practice without any actual cooking involved. It was clear that he was a liability, even when the stakes were as low as possible.
How long?
You gotta give me 4 minutes, dude.
Yeah.
3 minutes on a 3 minutes on a
3 minutes.
During the dinner service, Chino was holding down the meat station with Paul. Things were rolling smoothly until a few speed bumps showed up. Jonathan then stepped in, lending a hand with those Wellingtons. Team effort, you know? But what did Chino know about it? Then came the chef's table's order. Chino confidently called out 1 minute. Seeing him struggle, Natalie jumped in to help and sous chef Scott wanted an update. And then Chino's timing was suddenly a whole lot different.
How long until it's ready?
It's gonna be 3 more minutes, Chef.
So you need 3 minutes?
Now, instead of just accepting any assistance whatsoever, Chino's response was entitled as hell. He brushed off Natalie's advice completely, claiming her approach wasn't helpful.
You don't need to preach to me, okay? So it doesn't help. Doesn't help, okay?
And then the Wellingtons. Chino's moment to shine turned into a kitchen nightmare. Oh, wait, wrong show. But I mean, if you left him to his own devices, I'm sure he could have made any of Chef Ramsay's restaurants need a rescue from his own show. Anyway, when they finally made their way out, Chef Ramsay's reaction said it all: raw. Hey, at least he didn't burn it this time, right? Chef Ramsay then ordered a kitchen-wide inspection. And, well, it was back to square one for Chino.
It's raw. Raw!
But then came his second attempt. And how did that turn out?
That is raw. That is white. What is that? So now you just fucked.
Yep, still raw. And that was the final straw. The blue team got the boot from the kitchen, all thanks to those undercooked Wellingtons and lamb.
All of you, fuck off out of here. Get upstairs.
Chino's refusal to accept help, coupled with his failure to deliver a properly cooked dish, was his team's undoing. He knew he messed up, but instead of owning up to it, he seemed to think that Natalie made him look bad. When she tried to be the bigger person and apologize for how she spoke to him, his response was just harsh.
Natalie, don't make me look worse.
I was trying to help you, and if it came off that way, I'm sorry.
And then, to top it all off, when Natalie started getting really emotional, instead of showing a bit of empathy or remorse, Chino doubled down. He had the nerve to think that she was just crying for attention.
She likes to put on a show, and it's a joke. What I had to kiss your ass all the time? I wasn't lying.
I mean, what the heck, man? His treatment of Natalie was a real low point. It felt like the whole blue team was on board with welcoming Natalie, except for him. I wonder why. Now, luck played a big part for Chino in the earlier episodes. Steven's mishaps, Brendan's blatantly obvious lie, and bam, the blue team snagged a win in episode 3. But when it came to episode 4, oh boy, Chino had nowhere to hide. Let's be real here, in that episode, Chino's cooking game was just not up to par. And there's a genuinely valid argument that he was one of the most incompetent chefs to ever grace the show. And his behavior towards Natalie on his elimination night was totally uncalled for. Making someone cry just because they were trying to lend you a hand is downright disgusting. Anyway, it's gotta be embarrassing to be humiliated on the show when you know your family would inevitably witness it on TV. I'd keep my attitude in check for this very reason. And if you're with me, then drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. But as it turns out, Andrew over here couldn't care less. He decided to take the whole flirting game to a whole new level.
I get married in a couple months. Probably not going to be a strong relationship.
Ugh. The dude not only flirted with another contestant, but also casually dropped that the Playboy Mansion was the highlight of his life, all while having a fiancé.
Are you circling my bald spot right now?
No.
That's really balding?
I mean, it depends how you comb it.
Like, really? Cheating is never a good look, and Andrew not only betrayed his fiancé, but also acted like it was just another day for him.
Andrew, here's your grandma, Helen, and your girlfriend, Leela.
So not only was Andrew in a way too one-sided open relationship, but he also had a knack for being excessively loud. What's more, he always had an excuse for everything, including his lack of leadership skills. During some reward or other, when Devin suggested toning down his decibel level, Andrew had a full-blown disagreement.
All we gotta do is humble ourselves, and let's be more soft-spoken and communicate with respect.
Hey, by the way, he's right. But according to him, being loud was just a Philadelphia thing.
I'm from Philly. I'm loud, I'm boisterous, that's how I am.
Oh, of course, that explains it. Philadelphians, comment down below and let me know if this piece of work represents you. But let's be real here, if your leadership style relies on heavily yelling, you're not exactly leadership material. Like, at least Chef Ramsay has 2 volume settings and can string together an intelligible sentence. Good leaders should be in the business of lifting people up, not blowing their eardrums out. Now, time for the Indian cuisine dinner service from season 13, where one contestant messed up big time. It was an interesting mix on the menu, with classics and some traditional Indian dishes like tandoori chicken and off-the-wall stuff like Panera flatbread pizza. Celebs like Billy Gibson, Uzo Aduba, and Lisa Guerrero showed up as well. Chef Ramsay threw down the gauntlet with Santos and Bryant, asking them to whip up a flatbread pizza. Bryant decided to take the reins. Now, Aaron was trying to keep things smooth, but Bryant, in an attempt to help on the fish station, ended up sending up a raw scallop. But guess whose fault that was?
Still stone cold in the Who cooked them? No answer. Who cooked them?
My station, I take responsibility.
Later, Bryant tried to weasel his way out.
But you certainly didn't go, I cooked them.
Because I was like, bleh, and you're like,
Jump on it.
Motherfucker, how could I?
Wait, what? Then Bryant got into a spat with Shade, who called him out over his patronizing attitude.
Don't give me shit, Ryan.
I don't need to hear you.
Because you're not fucking talking.
Despite the internal bickering, the blue team managed to get their appetizers out. The kitchen chaos continued though, with fish orders piling up, Aaron causing a small fire, and Bryant stepping in to handle it. Chef Ramsay wondered if what he was seeing was even real. Shade and Bryant were still at odds, and Santos called out the situation for what it was, a huge mess.
Aaron can't even figure out where the fuck he's at. It's a fucking absolute shit show right now. Shade and Bryant are ready to just go toe-to-toe and slug it out.
Then, Aaron sent out a raw salmon, and Chef Ramsay uncovered Bryant's raw garnishes.
Touch that. Touch that, Rock.
Okay, let's admit it, the men were lost without Sterling.
I guess you don't want to jump over to the blue team, Sterling.
No thank you, Chef.
Now, Bryant's anger took the center stage during the deliberations. Oh yeah, Mr. Nice Guy was a thing of the past, and he declared that he was done playing nice.
I'm done playing nice. I'm seriously done. I am fucking done.
Uh-huh, bro, we get you. However, things quickly escalated when Bryant confronted Aaron about not heeding his advice. Accusations were thrown around and it turned into a heated exchange.
I don't know why you listen to her more than you listen to Garnet.
Because she was more organized than you were.
Seriously, why was he acting like that?
You need a bullhorn at the end of the table here to talk over me, to talk to you.
Dude, calm down, you ass.
Then he considered nominating Fernando, who in return criticized Bryant's inability to make a coherent argument and called out his awful attitude.
Your attitude sucks. You will never be able to fucking manage a brigade with that fucking attitude.
Absolutely right, my man. As Bryant's temper flared, Shade urged him to cool it, and Aaron reminded him of the raw scallop incident.
You sent up raw scallops for me tonight.
You fucking putting justifying on me, showing that you are a weak-ass man.
Despite Bryant claiming that he would take responsibility, there was a lingering concern about a potential physical altercation. Bryant was unfazed and taunted the team to nominate him, asserting that he'd survive anyway.
Y'all can each vote for me, that's fine, but I'm not leaving.
By the way, he's the only finalist I just can't bring myself to support. The guy came off as arrogant, annoying, and overly self-assured. While I wouldn't call it anger issues, he seemed like he was just trying to project toughness.
Cause I'm dominant more than you. That's why I'm standing. Everyone knows how the fuck I roll, man. We've set the fucking tone now.
That perpetual scowl on his face with those angry eyebrows gave off a vibe of all show and no substance.
Don't call me honey. I'm not your honey or sweetie or any of these other fucking pet names. Tell me about me. Tell me about me then.
Now, what do you think? Speaking of, another chef who had unparalleled delusions of grandeur is Amber from season 19. She made a return for the final dinner service among the 7 chefs. When Corey chose Jordan over her, she seemed really surprised.
I really thought she was talking about me and going to pick me. My feelings are a little hurt. It's just business, so it is what it is.
Sorry, but the finale isn't about your feelings. Mary Lou selected her as the third addition to her team after Cody and Nikki, and Lauren followed. That night, she confronted Corey for not choosing her like a hurt little child. Despite Corey explaining that it wasn't personal, Amber continued to harbor resentment. She vented to both Mary Lou and Lauren, dismissing Corey's decision as her loss.
I'm surprised you picked Jordan before you picked me. Okay, well, it hurt my feelings.
Even though she claimed to be over it, Amber still gave Corey a hard time the next day, much to Corey's annoyance.
You know, it makes me feel like you think I can't cook.
And that's not it. That's not at all. This is going crazy. Like, girls, snap out of it.
During the dinner service, Amber took charge of the meat station. At one point, she expressed concern about Lauren, who seemed a bit spaced out. When it came to the entrees, she was pleased to finish in the red kitchen, confident in Mary Lou's victory. However, she couldn't resist reminding Corey that not picking her was her loss.
It is definitely your loss. You do not have me on your team tonight.
But was it? Well, you be the judge. In the meantime, Chef Ramsay noticed that Amber forgot to include the chicken in her entrees.
So we forgot the chicken?
Yes, Chef.
Now we've f***ed up. This is all shit. We're not sending that.
Mary Lou had to call her team down, and when asked about the chicken delay, Amber estimated 7 minutes. This led Mary Lou to refire the entire table, struggling to maintain composure with Amber. During her second attempt, Amber, determined to get it right, readied her refired chicken for the pass. However, Lauren was concerned about the chicken's texture. Undeterred, Amber was ready to serve it and face the consequences. Unfortunately, Lauren's worries were really justified as the chicken turned out to be as raw as could be. This was a fact that Mary Lou did not hesitate to show the rest of the team.
All of you come back here right now. Everybody come back right now. Okay, my chicken's raw. I need you all to be on the exact same page.
In response, Mary Lou made the call to switch stations for Amber and Cody. But Amber came away from it frustrated, especially since Cody managed to get his chicken accepted.
So annoying because it's like, boy toy to the rescue.
How insulting. In the end, Mary Lou lost the finale to Corey. Guess Corey managed just fine without Amber, huh?
She didn't want me, then that's her loss.
Her loss indeed. I guess karma decided to swing by after that little declaration, and I have to admit, it was really satisfying to watch it unfold. Up next is this contestant who couldn't get enough button pushing.
Winning Hell's Kitchen would totally change my life. It's Jason who won Hell's Kitchen and has his pocket full of money to beat women off with a stick, for God's sake.
Jason's sexist remarks throughout his time on the show were downright offensive.
I'll be damned if I'm gonna lose to a team of girls. The only thing I'm gonna lose to a woman is like an ironing contest.
His confidence in winning solely because of the team's high spirit was not only misguided, but also demonstrated a dismissive attitude toward the women's capabilities without a man to lead them.
I don't lose to fucking girls, especially a bunch of young little kids.
What's perplexing is while he was quick to undermine the women, he had literally zero cooking skills. So what exactly made him feel so superior? I'm thinking a superiority complex. Anyway, cut to the time that Chef Ramsay discovered Jason's raw halibut.
It's a little more raw than you wanted it, yes, Chef.
A little, okay.
Despite Chef Ramsay's attempt to guide and help him, Jason's halibut returned raw yet again.
And you're sending me raw fish, but it's fucking cold, it's fucking raw.
And then, instead of owning up to his mistake, he denied everything. And that, in no small part, resulted in the entire freaking restaurant being shut down. No, I'm not kidding. And of course, his struggle at the dessert station was quite a spectacle. When Chef Ramsay quizzed him about the menu, Jason barely even knew what was on it. This led Chef Ramsay sending him to the dorms to study the menu. Yeah, go hit the books, bud.
After the dorm, in the mirror, breathe in, chest out, read the dessert.
Now, when he finally got back into the kitchen, Chef Ramsay took him aside again to test his knowledge of the desserts. Jason struggled and even started saying that he was looking for the door.
Chocolate fondant with,
Oh, no.
No, I know this shit. I've hit my breaking point. I'm at the bottom.
So much for our big, strong alpha male, huh? Chef Ramsay wasn't ready to let him throw in the towel, though.
I know the menu. I
just wanted to go home.
But if you ask me, he should have been ejected. It would have saved everyone a ton of trouble and heartache. Like, remember Jessica? She packed her bags as a result of a lot less whining. So what did Chef Ramsay see in him? Anyway, as Jason finally started preparing his desserts, it became apparent, if it wasn't already, that he was out of his depth. He even made a rather demeaning remark about women being better at making desserts. LaRosse stepped in to assist, informing him that his crème brûlées were ready. But our boy Jason could hardly believe it.
Your crème brûlée's done already. No, it's not. That's not cooked.
When Chef Ramsay tried to get to the bottom of how spectacularly he had failed, Jason shared the issue. and Ramsay offered a solution involving rubbing sugar around the rim with butter and cocoa powder. But was Jason about to take the notes and, you know, move on? See? Told you. He pushed way too many buttons. Up next, let's look at Jackie.
Jackie wrote the list. Why would you write that?
Jackie's actions during prep were completely out of line. First off, deciding to rename the prep list as the fucking list was a move that earned her a well-deserved berating from sous chef Christina. The lecture that followed, where she warned the entire red team about the consequences of such behavior, should have been a wake-up call for Jackie, right?
If any of this happens in this kitchen again, whoever writes it will be finishing the list.
Rather than acknowledging her mistake, Jackie tried to argue that it wasn't disrespectful, showing a lack of understanding and defiance. This led to sous chef Christina's fury. She not only sent her to the chef's table, but also made it clear that she would have fired her if this happened in her own kitchen.
It's a professional kitchen. You would be fired if you work for me.
Accusing Jackie of not caring and calling her the cancer of the red team, sous chef Christina made it abundantly clear just how much of a pain she was to have around. During the cowboy steak night dinner service, Jackie found herself on the appetizer station alongside Chad. Initially, she was unnecessarily concerned about Chad integrating into their service flow, and that was even though he managed to get his appetizers out just fine. Moving on to the entrees, Ariel requested Jackie's help with the tuna, explicitly cautioning her not to overcook them.
I got it, don't worry about it.
Make sure I don't overcook.
They're still cold in the middle.
Unfortunately, Jackie's tuna turned out to be burnt, prompting Ariel to accuse her of not providing the assistance she promised.
You can't figure out what the you're supposed to do. You're not helping me. Go back to your station.
This misstep contributed to the red team losing the service. Ultimately, this led to the time-honored tradition of nominating 2 team members for elimination. During the deliberations, instead of taking responsibility for her role in the burnt tuna incident, Jackie started dodging every ounce of blame thrown her way.
The big part is when you come to help people, you have to actually be able to help them.
She reminded Ashley of her perceived steak searing issues and suggested that if the fish and meat stations hadn't fallen apart, they wouldn't have been kicked out of the service. When Ariel rightfully brought up the burnt tuna, Jackie appeared to be in denial, insisting that she did nothing wrong.
Everything I cooked today was perfect, and I try to help everybody, and they want to throw me in.
Jackie's behavior took a seriously disturbing turn. First off, she shocked everyone by revealing that,
oh, I've only been cooking for 3 months!
Yeah, she had only been cooking for 3 months, yet somehow felt entitled to run BLT steak.
You know what? All of them, really. I just hate it that we can't choke people here.
Just to be clear, you shouldn't go around choking people anywhere. Least of all in Hell's Kitchen. After surviving elimination, which was a freaking miracle, let me tell you, back at the dorms, Jackie continued her antics. She mockingly questioned Kristen about having someone with just 3 months of cooking experience on the same level. Kristen, rightfully frustrated, pointed out that Jackie had no idea what she was doing.
You've only been cooking 3 months. You don't know what the you're doing. Everything about you is a sack of
The situation escalated when Jackie, in a confrontational manner, taunted Kristen and even threw her lighter to the ground, leading to a heated argument, no pun intended.
Either light your cigarette or give me my lighter.
Things took an even darker turn when Jackie dumped an ashtray on Kristen's shoulder. This prompted Kristen to express her disgust and frustration.
Kristen, put your hands up.
Done. Done.
Put your hands on me.
Out of my fit.
Eventually, Kristen decided that she had had enough and left the patio, questioning what was wrong with Jackie. Jackie's admission that she was playing mind games with Kristen because she couldn't physically harm her is deeply troubling.
Kristen, it's a game now, and it is to with your mind. That's what happens when you can't strangle a bitch.
This kind of hostility and manipulation is beyond unacceptable. It's just plain frustrating to watch. I couldn't even begin to imagine how her fellow chefs must have felt. Over the years, there have been countless blunders on Hell's Kitchen. Like, do you remember when this happened?
Zacky Wacky.
Chef Zach.
This is a f***ing joke.
No, chef.
Do me a favor. Get out.
Yes, chef.
Or how about this?
It's coming, baby. You cook like a fucking baby.
Well, turns out, not even the champion of champions was immune to making mistakes. Chef Christina Wilson is the GOAT hands down. She survived the cattiness and toxicity of Season 10, came out on top, and quickly rose through the ranks of Gordon Ramsay's food empire. The fact that she's got mad skills isn't even up for debate. Her entire journey on the show was a treat to watch, and yes, by entire journey, I also mean her lows.
This is a joke, an absolute joke.
Now, at one point, Christina teamed up at the meat station with Robin. Her execution of the Wellington dish, unfortunately, fell a little short of expectations.
What in the fuck is that? Who cooked that? Come here.
Chef Ramsay's discerning eye caught wind of an oversight. Raw dough in her Wellington.
Are you fucking for real? You want me to serve that out there? It's just a joke.
What's more, Dana accused her too, but she had a good counterpoint.
That's the thing with baking Wellington. You don't know until the end and there's nothing you can do. Like, oh, one of these beef, they have to be okay.
Chef Ramsay then swung by the meat station only to find more Wellingtons with the same issue, raw dough. This prompted a frenzied effort from both Christina and Barbie to swiftly craft new dough in the middle of the service.
We took the ones that were rolled, broke them down, rolled out new pastry dough, rewrapped them, and got them in the oven right away, just sitting there waiting for it to cook.
Tension soared further when Christina plated yet another Wellington with uncooked pastry.
Look! It's like fucking snot! There's just no thought!
The weight of these blunders was bearing heavily on our champ.
Shut it down and fucking clean up!
What's more, the red team nearly brought her to tears as she grappled with her performance and the challenge of bouncing back.
I didn't expect my first dinner service to be like this. I'm just sorry that I couldn't come through.
Well, look at where she's at today. Christina has come a long, long way, and if you adore her as much as I do, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on my post notifications. But do you remember what happened during Season 12's Italian Family Night service?
You just see one go in the trash, two go in the trash, 10 go in the trash, and we look like assholes.
Yep, the whole performance of the blue team was something tragic. And to add to the pressure, Chef Ramsay's family was in attendance too. So Chris, eager for redemption after having stumbled in the previous challenge, geared up for a turnaround. The first order hit the deck and Chris saw his chance. But fate had other ideas in mind. His initial attempt ended up, well, a little extra crispy.
It's burnt and raw. I can't use it. Watch out.
As for the second shot, that dough didn't make the cut, so it hit the bin.
Dude, this is impossible. I can't use that one.
God damn. Anyway, he continued grappling with the pizzas when Scott delivered some really disheartening news. His third attempt was charred at the bottom. Meanwhile, Anton, facing his own challenges, walked up with just one order of scallops. And that was all despite Richard not being prepared with his part of the dish.
Yeah, I'm walking. Where's the other fucking order? Come on, Richard, please.
As if things weren't tense enough, Anton's eye caught their bottle of oil placed on the flat top. A simple little action to retrieve it turned catastrophic when, to his shock, the bottom of the bottle melted away.
Get that put out now!
Yeah, what's Hell's Kitchen without hellfire, right?
I swear to God, unfucking believable.
Whew, crisis averted. An hour into the service, Richard finally managed to get his redo approved. However, Chris's battle with the pizzas persisted. Despite Scott's attempt to assist, the pizzas stubbornly kept coming out burnt.
Burn, 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 burn.
It's burnt. Dude, this is fucking bullshit, dude.
The tipping point arrived when Gabriel served up a pizza that was more charcoal than, well, pizza.
There's a big difference between something crisp and something black. That is disgusting.
God, I don't even think I've seen an uglier pizza than that.
You have to turn them every 90 seconds.
That's what we've been doing,
So
Chef.
why is it raw?
As they re-entered the kitchen, Scott rallied, acknowledging they were struggling, but emphasizing the need to power through. Perseverance is what made him a winner in my eyes, but this time, it was simply not his night. The whole pizza fiasco compelled Chef Ramsay to shift his focus to firing the entrees. In the midst of this transition, Ralph stumbled, serving up a raw ribeye that landed on the pass.
Ribeyes undercooked, medium rare, and it's fucking raw.
Ralph's string of mishaps continued when he sent out raw lamb, with one piece being sliced exceptionally thin, leaving Chef Ramsay astounded.
How do you manage lamb like that? That's not cooked, and that one there is like a scrag end.
As the 2-hour mark for the service hit, Ralph finally secured approval for his refires. However, the pizza station remained a nightmare, with Chris discarding yet another attempt.
Oh my God, it was hurting my heart. Every pizza that went in the garbage, that was a kid not getting fed.
That's a lot of food wastage. I mean, when you think about all the children in the world right now dying of starvation, these visuals look like a horror scene. Then, the situation took an even dire turn when the men discovered that they were out of dough, leaving Chef Ramsay seething with frustration.
We're out of dough.
Say that again?
We're out of pizza dough, Chef.
Shit!
An infuriated Ramsay confronted both Chris and Scott, demanding a solution to this predicament. Turns out, out of the 36 portions they prepared, a mere 10 pizzas had made it to the tables. In an attempt to make amends, Chef Ramsay called upon Jean-Philippe to escort Scott and Chris to the affected tables for an apology. Scott, feeling deeply embarrassed, shared his discomfort, having been accustomed to making pizzas with his family.
I make pizzas all the time with my family, and so this is embarrassing.
Ugh, tough night. But guess what's worse? Serving an almost empty plate to Chef Ramsay. So what happened is, during Season 15's Ingredient Number Challenge, Joe took a bold step. Wanting to ensure that his lobster wasn't overdone, he decided to give it a taste test. Feeling a little adventurous, he aimed to spruce up his dish, admitting that he hadn't really fancied up lobster before.
So I gotta jazz it up a little bit and taste it along the way just to make sure it's cooked properly.
When it was his turn, Joe nervously presented his lobster creation to Chef Ramsay, marking the third blue team member to face the judgment. This landed him head-to-head against Jackie in the lobster round, both vying to impress the chef. His offering for the challenge was a 3-ingredient warm lobster salad coupled with corn and couscous. However, Chef Ramsay wasn't impressed with the dish's appearance.
Looks like the size of a prawn. Where's the lobster? I can't see the tail, I can't see the claw, I can't see the knuckles.
When he inquired about the lobster, Joe admitted to tasting it, leading Chef Ramsay to emphasize that the challenge was about cooking and not indulging in a taste test.
So you tasted the piece, the claw, the knuckle?
I did, Chef.
Did you taste the tail?
I believe so, Chef.
I mean, that was hilarious. Despite Chef Ramsay feeling shortchanged and somewhat let down by Joe's approach, he did acknowledge the dish's delightful taste and commendable flavor profile. However, Joe fell short in that round, losing to Jackie. And that's when Chef Ramsay dropped him a golden nugget of advice.
Young man, next time, have a bigger breakfast, will you, first?
Yes, Chef.
Alright, let's see what happened when Scott was cooking tableside in Season 18. During his first and last dinner service, he held down the fish station alongside Jose. In a crucial moment, he sent up shrimp, mistakenly preparing only enough for one order. He actually believed that he heard an order for just one instead of two earlier on.
What do you need, Chef?
Oh my God!
When Scott sought Chef Ramsay's guidance on what was required, Ramsay's response was loud and clear. He urgently demanded the additional shrimp for the second risotto, emphasizing its necessity. But Scott defended himself. He felt a tad bit confused about Chef Ramsay's instructions and wanted the pace to ease up a little bit.
I need him to slow down to be able to process that information.
Trying to fix things, Scott sent out 6 shrimp thinking he needed more, even though he only needed 3 extra for the order. This move annoyed Chef Ramsay and sous chef Christina to no end.
6 shrimp, Chef.
Oh my God, you only need 3 now. You already cooked 3.
As if that wasn't enough, Chef Ramsay caught Scott cooking more shrimp, thinking it was for the ongoing orders. However, Scott clarified that he was prepping them for the tableside service.
Pardon?
You'd already done the order! It's gone!
Tableside.
Oh man, Chef Ramsay wasn't having it. He pointed out that the tableside was Scott Lee's duty, not Scott's. To drive the point home, Chef Ramsay took Scott to Scott Lee, causing Scott some serious embarrassment amongst the team.
Tableside means it's sat next to the table.
Yes, Chef. This is so embarrassing.
Scott, your journey on HK was short-lived, but you were fascinating. Though, maybe Chef Ramsay would use a different F word for you. I'll leave that one up to your imagination. By the way, here's a pro kitchen tip I came across in America's most influential food magazine, Bon Appetit. It says, for perfectly cooked fish and meat, use a cake tester. Well, they forgot to mention this tip doesn't work in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen. During the steak night dinner service, Vlad manned the meat station, checking the steaks for their temperature. After confirming the readiness of the steaks, he gave Alejandro the green light to send out a salmon. However, despite Vlad's approval, Alejandro served raw fish, leading Chef Ramsay to showcase the error to the blue team. To add to the mishap, Ramsay discovered that the ribeye was also undercooked.
That's not pink, that's raw. That's the ribeye.
Oh, undercooked.
Yeah, they're both under.
Acknowledging the blunder, Vlad swiftly secured approval for a refire. In the subsequent order, he aimed for accuracy and confidence. He employed a cake tester to gauge the warmth of the dishes before sending them out.
I'm gonna give them a little cake test at the end, make sure that they're warm throughout, to make sure that all the steaks come out perfectly.
When the entrees made their way back to Chef Ramsay, he brought the blue team into the back pantry for a revealing moment. To the team's dismay, Ramsay pointed out that the fillets were served cold.
Just touch that, touch that. This is a joke. It's a salmon, it's a fillet.
Feeling the weight of the failure, Vlad experienced embarrassment.
I feel like Jack on the Titanic. I'm deep in freezing waters and I'm
right on. Amidst the tension, Alex stepped in to assist Vlad with the steaks. However, Abe expressed doubt, feeling that Vlad should have been more competent in handling the task.
Vlad, you know how to cook steak. You work at a damn steakhouse, man.
Now, Vlad stood as the blue team's initial nominee for elimination, accompanied by Alejandro as the second nominee. The former faced elimination due to his subpar performance on the meat station and his apparent misuse of a cake tester.
You need to know the difference between a meat thermometer and a cake tester.
In his defense, he maintained that he stayed authentic to himself during his plea and lamented that the cake tester incident negatively affected his performance. Ultimately, this led to his elimination from the competition. But Chef Ramsay was unmoved.
It's called cake tester for a reason. It tests cakes, not steaks. Vlad, that was bad.
Stone cold. Anyway, this reminds me of a certain someone. Any guesses who? None other than the deer in the headlights, Melinda.
Look at all this fucking... Who's putting all this in the bin?
During her only dinner service, Melinda was paired with Lovely at the appetizer station. But their performance was marked with so much inconsistency. Their struggle reached a peak when they had to redo a capellini pasta dish for the first table an astonishing 8 times.
We've only had one table, but have made the same dish 6 million times.
On the 8th attempt, Tennille, concerned about the pasta's doneness, asked Melinda if it was properly cooked. Melissa insisted that it was, yet Chef Ramsay determined that it was still undercooked.
No, it's not cooked.
Adding to the chaos, Melinda made a critical mistake by carelessly discarding the pasta into the trash bin. She mistakenly believed that this was the right way to rectify the issue somehow.
What do? You just trash it straight away. Just put it back on the stove, put a lid on top, and 30 seconds cooking it.
The amount of food being wasted here hurts my soul. It, of course, upset Chef Ramsay, who intended for her to salvage the dish by simply returning it to the stove to finish cooking. Because, like, duh. Then, Chef Ramsay stumbled upon an alarming sight. Melinda had recklessly wasted far more pasta than he initially had thought. She'd been pulling this little stunt since the start of the service. Visibly horrified, he began removing the vast pile of wasted pasta, shocking not only himself, but also the rest of the women in the kitchen. Chef Ramsay demanded an explanation about the extent of the wasted pasta. However, Melinda appeared to be way too stunned to respond, and her eyes were wide with disbelief.
Hey, madam, how much capellini are you throwing away? What are you doing?
That was a crazy look. As the chaos intensified, Chef Ramsay reached his limit and shut both kitchens down. While the teams were cleaning up, Melinda, still wearing a shocked expression, seemed unable to snap out of her daze. Later on, during the lineup, Chef Ramsay delivered a stern warning to Melinda, emphasizing that her time in the competition was dwindling.
Melinda, Lovely, you are running out of time.
Melinda found herself as the red team's initial choice for elimination, swiftly followed by Amanda. Her elimination stemmed from being obviously the worst performer of the night. And of course, her lack of enthusiasm to compete didn't contribute very positively to her standing in the competition.
I really was looking forward to spending more time with Chef Ramsay. I'd love to make you a 4-course dinner and you could see exactly what kind of talent I have.
Oof. Okay, now who remembers Kenneth's cheese potato fiasco? During the Creative Shrimp Challenge, eager to make amends for his earlier lackluster performance in the Signature Dish Challenge, Kenneth expressed a strong desire to prove his culinary skills to Chef Ramsay. He even credited his great-grandmother's influence as motivation.
I didn't learn from a cookbook, I didn't go to culinary school, I learned from my great-grandmother.
When sous chef Jay was tasked with identifying 2 of the weakest dishes from the blue team, Kenneth found himself as the primary nomination, followed by Elliot as the second choice. They were paired with Nikki and Jordan from the red team for potential elimination. Now, Kenneth approached Chef Ramsay with a blend of nerves and prayers to the shrimp gods for luck. His offering? A shrimp penne pasta jazzed up with sauteed peppers and bacon. But the famous chef spotted something peculiar on the plate.
What the fuck is that? I have no clue, Chef. It looked like a potato, and I didn't even use potatoes.
Chef Ramsay revealed the mystery clump for everyone else to see. He sought confirmation if anyone among the men had included potato in their dishes.
Blue team, we have a potato that has dropped in Kenneth's dish. Who's got potato in their fucking dish?
To the chef's collective denial, Chef Ramsay orchestrated a tasting session for Kenneth in order to put the mystery to bed once and for all.
Taste that. It's a block of Parmesan, you fucking donut.
I grated the Parmesan cheese.
Grated? It's a block of Parmesan in there.
No way. In an attempt to justify the mishap, Kenneth insisted that he grated the cheese. However, a revealing flashback showed a little bit of a different story. There was a moment where he sliced off a chunk onto the plate without even realizing it. After an unpalatable taste experience, Kenneth attempted to salvage the situation. He argued that he knew the disparity between potato and cheese, but adamantly claimed that the clump resembled a potato.
Yo, I know the difference between a potato and Parmesan cheese, but it looked just like a potato.
Come on, man, what was that? Ultimately, Chef Ramsay delivered his verdict, labeling the dish as a complete disaster. But the next contestant made so many mistakes that pretty much everyone lost what little respect they had for her. During the dinner rush in episode 7, Corey was handling the garnish station for the red team. She knew that getting the garnish right was crucial for keeping the kitchen line running smoothly, and had a chat with Mary Lou about timing. Trouble brewed when the meat station served up meat intended for the next order.
They're not ready, garnish not ready, and look, on top of all that, I got 2 bits of black shit salmon.
And this is when Corey informed them about the refire that was needed.
Lamb welly, 2 salmon, 1 halibut. That is the refire.
Okay, now keep track of this because unfortunately, the order was for the wrong ticket.
Sorry to disturb you. The meat station's bought the lamb again.
The lamb is for the next ticket. You told us there was a lamb on this ticket.
Yeah, and this is why Nikki rightly blamed Corey for the premature firing, sparking a disagreement. Even though Corey denied giving the order, a flashback revealed otherwise.
Don't tell us to fire it if it's not fired. I said next ticket.
Why would you lie so blatantly? Like, you have to know that that's not gonna go well for you. Things heated up as Jordan accused Corey of causing their issues, refusing to take the blame for what she believed wasn't solely her fault. This miscommunication seriously hampered the red team's efficiency. To add even more to the chaos, on their 3rd attempt, Corey served up soggy fries. This marked one of the 3 critical mistakes that led to the red team's expulsion from the kitchen.
Fries soggy, undercooked, beef overcooked, and salmon's ice cold in the middle. Fuck off.
Now let's skip all the way to episode 14. During Mary Lou's stint at the pass, Corey made a huge blunder by presenting a raw lamb. This was a mistake that gave her Mary Lou's undivided attention. And Chef Ramsay made his disappointment crystal clear too.
I want to know what's happened.
Yes, chef.
It's a small lamb, it's not even big, and that's miles away.
Yes, chef.
Then, when Adam Carolla's table received their dishes, Corey sought timings for the next order. It was her turn at the pass. But she left her station messy. So the situation took a turn when Cody, at the meat station, presented undercooked Wellingtons.
That's nowhere near cooked.
No.
Cody rightly accused Corey of leaving his station in disarray, insinuating that she had set him up for failure.
There was 4 burnt lambs, 3 Wellingtons that looked like they were overcooked, and then they were raw. I just felt like I was set up to fail.
As Cody refired the Wellingtons, tensions escalated. Unfortunately, the 2nd attempt was also flawed, with Wellingtons cold at the center.
Those Wellingtons are cold in the center, chef. I need 3 minutes.
I don't have 3 minutes.
Cody requested additional cooking time, a request that Corey hesitated to grant, leading to further conflict.
Corey's performance was the reason that the meat station is a disaster.
So were you Team Corey or Team Cody here? Let me know in the comment section down below. But speaking of blunders, I think Season 3, Episode 3 was full of them. Now, the Blue Kitchen received its first order. Chef Ramsay wasted no time critiquing Rock's risotto preparation.
No. You don't toss a risotto!
To add to the situation, Rock unintentionally winked due to the sweat dripping into his eyes, which Chef Ramsay chastised him about.
Now you're acting like a big donkey.
Then, the famous chef, noticing Rock's discomfort, requested Jean-Philippe to get some tissues for him.
Medic! Get Rock some tissues, please, yeah? He's got ointment in his eye.
Oh, yeah, it was a sticky situation. Meanwhile, in the red kitchen, Joanna encountered trouble with her risotto too, which turned out to be excessively salty, necessitating a complete restart.
It's soft, it's salty, and it's crap. Start again.
Yes, chef.
Despite the setback, Joanna and Bonnie collaborated on sending out their refired order. However, Chef Ramsay discovered that Bonnie's scallops were undercooked, leading to his visible frustration. And it didn't help that Bonnie kept pestering him with dumb, obvious questions.
What's wrong?
Are they raw?
You just asked me, are they raw? Why don't you tell me what the they are?
They're raw, chef.
And yeah, what followed next was Joanna's rancid crab incident. Who could forget that, right?
The crab is off! Can you not smell that? It's rancid!
Anyway, 1 hour into the service, the women were experiencing delays, struggling to send out any orders. The blue team, on the other hand, had managed to serve almost half of their tables. However, Vinny began to slow down in preparing his scallops, much to Chef Ramsay's growing impatience. And then, he discovered this.
What is that? It's alright. What is that? Not really yet.
Yikes! As the service approached the 1 hour and 41 minute mark, the diners in the blue team section grew increasingly restless due to the prolonged wait. Meanwhile, the women's team finally made progress in getting the food out, with Julia and Jen taking charge. However, in another WTF moment, Jen mistakenly discarded her cooked spaghetti since it wasn't needed at the moment.
Scallop risotto spaghetti, yes?
Oh, you mean more spaghetti, Julia?
And well, what followed next was Jen's spaghetti from the trash incident.
We had an order for spaghetti and I threw out what we had and I decided to retrieve the spaghetti and washed it.
Now, imagine if Julia didn't see it. Imagine. Meanwhile, Brad and Josh were handling the preparation of their entrees. However, tension arose when Josh admitted that he wasn't ready with his turbot. This prompted Chef Ramsay to accuse him of sabotaging Brad's efforts. Josh vehemently denied the accusation.
Hey, are you just trying to sabotage them?
No, wait,
so it makes you look good.
No rest for the Spaghetti King. 2 hours into the service, Chef Ramsay observed that Brad was engaged in a troubling activity. He was attempting to salvage burned sections from the Wellingtons.
Hold on, there's someone being dishonest. Lift the bottom of the Wellington over. Oh, come on.
Meanwhile, in the Red Kitchen, Jen noticed that all of her Wellingtons were overcooked due to the sluggish start with the appetizers. Chef Ramsay, already frustrated by the situation, grew even more exasperated as they still had 17 Wellingtons pending.
17 on order, 3 to send. We're 14 short.
You don't want to stay a bit longer?
And the impatience of departing customers pushed Chef Ramsay to his breaking point.
Get out. Get out.
What a total disaster.
95% of your customers weren't served an entree.
And well, how could you forget about Sade's rough day in the kitchen?
So I'm basically doing a braised beef dish. I think the dogs are really gonna like it.
I mean, it was foolish, but was it understandable? I don't know, you tell me. However, definitely a moment I doubt anyone's gonna forget.
I don't know if I fried anything for dogs. I'm going to do a braised beef dish. I'm gonna cut it down into small pieces that they can actually eat.
I mean, Chef Ramsay was shocked.
What's this plate here? What is that?
Braised beef.
Braised beef. Looks like a dog shat all over my plate.
Dude's got a real way with words, right? Fortunately for the blue team, Sade was exempt from judgment as they had an additional member sparing her dish from being evaluated. By the way, when it was time for the punishment, Sade, who so lovingly cooked for the dogs, stood out as the only team member who wasn't a fan of washing them.
Puppies? Ready for your shower?
For some of these guys, this is a reward and not a punishment.
Yeah.
Understandably. I hope they fed her dish to the pups though. They probably would get a real kick out of it. So, can you think of any other blunders that I missed? Make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this next one right here since it's even better.